All right, guys, we are here. It is Friday morning. We got new setups. We are doing the video aspect, bringing to you that on Patreon. It's a brand new style for us. We haven't done this before, it's only been audio. Avery, how do you feel about this new style?
Well, I love my face and I love that I can see it while I'm recording with you. I love your face, you beautiful bastard. So I think this is going to go great. I think this is, you know, we're we're stepping our game up. We're moving forward. We're creating more content, better content, and we're just going to keep it going from here.
Exactly. So let's tell everybody a little bit about us. Let's intro. We'll make the intro video right now. So we are two guys. I'm from New Jersey, and Avery is from.
Michigan.
So two different places. I don't know how many miles it is. I'm not going to look it up. But we met each other in a very unique way. We have never met each other in person. And I actually DM'd Avery on Twitter after I saw how many likes, retweets did that video have?
Oh, I can't. I literally cannot even tell you. It was thousands on thousands.
Thousands. I think it had like 500,000 likes or something. It was ridiculous.
right.
But it was super well done. And the voiceover was crisp. I was like, this guy knows what he's doing. Then I just reached out on Twitter. I was like, he's not gonna answer. Why would this guy answer me? He's got like 26,000 followers, I think. And I just said, dude, I'm starting this podcast about helping people share their stories. Do you want to be a part of it? It's crazy, man. It's crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about. It's unreal to think. I mean, what a shot in the dark for you to just reach out to a total stranger and ask, hey, you want to do a podcast together? But then you fast forward 2 years later and look at us sitting here right now, starting something new with our podcast, a video aspect of our podcast. So that's super interesting. That's super awesome. And man, let's just dive into what we've created, what you got us going with. Let's start talking about that.
Anybody who's new to the podcast, the Mindshape podcast is built around helping people share their stories. It's helping people have a voice. We have a motto, giving everybody a voice. That is the motto. We want to give people a platform to share stories about difficult things they've been through, whether that be we've had someone talk about being in a house fire, third-degree burns, losing their parents in that house fire, being in a school shooting, being an Iranian refugee, someone who lost their legs at birth and, you know, doesn't has to live life in a wheelchair, but is the happiest human being I've ever seen. It's absolutely amazing. So many incredible stories to actually Avery to actually think about who we've been able to meet and how many crazy stories we've had on is it blows my mind.
It really does. And some of them aren't even all that crazy. Some of our
Yeah.
topics are more simple topics that people go through on a daily basis. We talk about dating, we talk about body image. Uh, there's so many different topics we talk about that aren't just simply things that are wild and crazy, like, you know, surviving a school shooting. That's not as relatable to everyone, but there are a lot of people out there who have had to endure the trauma from something like that. And that was an awesome episode. And just like you said, our guest who has no legs, one of the happiest guys on earth. I mean, you can feel the joy coming through your headphones when you're listening to him. And it's just an incredible thing that we get to do personally, that we get to sit here and listen to these stories, learn from these people, and have the ability to interview with them. And the fact that they even take the time to, sit down with us is awesome in itself. And I'm just so grateful for all I've learned, grateful that you asked me to be on the podcast, because this has changed so many lives. And that's not to be conceited or arrogant, which would come from Joey and I, but it actually is changing lives. The amount of messages I've received personally, or people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I love your podcast. Thank you so much." People crying, literally crying about an episode to me in person. It just lets us know that we're on the right track and we're doing great things, and people are impacted by this podcast. And just hats off to us. We can give ourselves a pat on the back, but really thank you to all the guests who've come on. And yeah, give yourself a pat on the back, but really thank you to all the guests who've come on and just been so vulnerable and shared their story with us and everyone else.
What a ride it's been. And on top of our guests who have been so vulnerable and so willing to share these stories that are deep, and some are not even that deep, but the willingness to share something that's personal to us is tough. That's a really scary thing to do, and we respect everybody who does that, whether that be on this podcast or just with someone you know in your life. We want to also thank, like, our listeners are incredible. Like, thousands of listeners. I would have never thought where we came from that we'd have thousands of listeners. We had, I think, 100 downloads our whole first season, which is, I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, why are we doing this for 100 downloads?
Like 31
And
episodes and only 100 downloads.
yeah, it was crazy. Like, now we're at what, 64,000 total, and we've just taken off. But we kind of pivoted from success stories to tough stories, because success stories are amazing. Those are what help drive people to see what's possible, but those tough stories really connect us as humans. We believe the vulnerability is just the bridge. It connects us together of like, I understand where you're coming from. And having everyday people on gives that relatability. And we just, again, want to thank our listeners for listening and hope that all these episodes can inspire you in a different way.
Right. And just to go off what you're saying, Joey, um, we really do embrace that motto of giving everyone a voice. These are everyday people. This could be your neighbor. This could be the person you sit next to in school. These stories are coming from individuals who are just living amongst us. We're not interviewing high superstars and big time celebrities and things like that. Although we've had some pretty successful people on, or people who have received, a couple million followers on TikTok and things like that. But when you listen to these guests, they're everyday people. They're people that are like minded, just like you. They're people who have issues and problems and struggle through things just like you. And we're just so proud of them. We're proud of them. We're proud of how this podcast has been shaped. Mindshape has been shaped. But yeah, man, it's been a ride, dude. I feel like Batman and Robin just cruising around, listening to awesome people. It's been great.
Wow. Wow. I know we keep saying similar things, but this has been an incredible ride for Avery and I. And as we grow, if you're seeing this, it's going to be on Patreon. So welcome to Patreon. Thank you for coming to our page. And we hope that you guys can throw a couple bucks for us so we can keep making this podcast grow, keep bringing more people on, keep adding new aspects to our podcast, and keep bringing you this type of content. We are going to be doing videos on all sorts of topics. We'll bring people on in videos. We just got this new Zencaster platform. I'm so excited. But your support means the world to us, and it helps us grow and become a bigger, better, and more influential podcast.
Yes, right on, Joey. It does. That support is huge. And we appreciate anything you can give us, even if it's just insight, even if it's just some constructive criticism. We appreciate that as well. Anything you can do to support and help us out, help us grow, help us reach out to more people and individuals who would love to come on the podcast. We appreciate that so much.
We love you guys, and we can't wait to meet every single one of you. Send us an email, talk to us. We want to know where you're from, what you do, and what you love about the podcast. Again, thank you guys so much for your support, and we look forward to bringing you more content.